Hello, today in this video I will be discussing a topic which I've given a lot of thought into, which is what would God look like? The maker of the universe supposedly made us in his own image, but is that logically possible? I'm about to discuss what he would look like if he were real. So, how different would he be from everybody's mental image? Most people have that image in their head of the white guy with the long white beard and the white robes, but let's analyze to see if that would be what he would logically look like. First, as I said in my previous video, God would have no genitals. The reason for this is because there's no female God, and the second reason is because he is immortal. These two things combined means that he doesn't need to reproduce, so he would have no genitals. So there would also be no need to pass on his own genes. A lack of a reproductive system like this means a lack of other gender-defining qualities, things that are there because of gender, such as nipples and male hormones. If he's not really male or female, he doesn't need those hormones. So that means he has a higher voice, very little to no hair at all, and that means that he's not really God right now. Now he's become the Piltdown Man. For the next point, we'll keep going and see just how far we can pick him apart. Another thought that I had was if he created meat and plants, then there aren't anywhere he is because they didn't exist until he made them. There's no meat and plants, there's nothing to eat. Well, if he has nothing to eat, then what's the point of a digestive system? Has no digestive system. But wait, if he has no digestive system, then there's no way for nutrients to get to his blood or to his remaining organs. So that means that he would have no organs at all, because no nutrients to blood or organs, he must not need them. If he doesn't need those nutrients, no point in having any organs. So next point is if he has no organs, he doesn't need a rib cage. So we're going to take his rib cage away. He has no legs, because if he can teleport, if he can be everywhere at once, he doesn't need to walk or run. He's not hunting anything, he's not prey to anything, so he doesn't need legs to run away from whatever would be chasing him. So let's rip off his legs. Since a nose is needed to smell things in the environment, to be able to tell where your territory is, or where you are, or where food is, this is needed in our world. In a world where there's nothingness before he creates it, then he would have no nose, logically. There's nothing to smell. So he would have no nose, he would have no mouth because no digestive system. He wouldn't need a mouth. Okay, so we'll get back to the mouth later as well. We'd need ears to hear, but before the universe was created, there would be nothing to hear, because there would be no atoms to bump together and form vibrations to hit eardrums, because atoms weren't invented. So this means he has no ears. And besides, if he can hear everybody's thoughts and prayers, why can't he hear things that happen in the natural world telepathically? I mean, he created it. I'm sure he would be able to make it accustomed to his earless head. So we're going to scratch them as well. So now we're down to the point where you worship Slimer from the Ghostbusters. But wait, there's more. Now that I've ripped God limb from limb, let's go even further. Logic begs for it. We should get rid of skin pigment next. Pigments protect from the rays of the sun. They stop your skin from being harmed, but the sun didn't exist until he thought it up, so photons didn't, these rays didn't. He wouldn't need any protection from any rays. So he has no skin pigment, he's an albino. But why have any skin? He doesn't need skin. There's nothing to protect his organs from. He doesn't have organs. So, since there's nothing to hurt him, he does not need skin. So now we have a floating brain with a pair of eyes and a pair of floating arms. So why can't his brain just do everything? If he can answer prayers and hear them just with thought, then he certainly could have made the universe with thought and wouldn't need his arms. So we'll take them away. So we have eyes with a brain. Well, eyes pick up light, they pick up photons, but that didn't exist until he told it to. When a cat sees in the dark, it's because their eyes are able to pick up more photons. There are still photons in complete darkness. But if they don't exist, then there's no possible way you can see. So his eyes would have to be accustomed to not just darkness, but complete nothingness. So no photons at all, he'd be blinded when light came along if his eyes were able to see light at all. Which begs the question, if he is not able to see light, and he doesn't need light to see, why create it for the humans? Why not give the humans the same eyes that you have? But that's for a different video. So he wouldn't need eyes. He wouldn't be able to use eyes. It wouldn't make sense. So he must be a brain, floating in the air, doing brain stuff, chilling in the middle of nothing. But there's one last inconsistency. A god can't be everywhere at once if he's confined to a physical form. Even if he can see and hear everything at once through thought, having a physical form does not permit him to be in churches at the same time, to have his presence in all churches, and to fill you with his spirit, if he has a physical form which he cannot break. So therefore, he must be a ball of undetectable energy, which can separate itself and spread out into a conscious blanket of thought, which can permeate through little tiny holes, even through lead. So I guess that episode of Futurama hit right on the mark. The more and more thought you give this, the less sense God's form makes. You have to keep taking things away to logically account for existing in a nothingness. The more you take away, the higher the odds are stacked against his existence. The less sense it all makes. So now that I have probably changed your own mental image about what God looks like, I ask that you start thinking about how logical your other mental images are about everything in the Bible. When you realize that the simplest concepts don't stand up to scrutiny, even the God that they're based on, that those ideas are based on, you'll start asking why. The one question, why, unlocks answers. It has for centuries. That's where atheism comes from. It's the asking of why. When you find a logical answer, that must be what you go with. If you find no evidence of something, then it is completely insane to start believing it. So, ask why. It'll unlock many truths to you. I'm Dustin, and this has been the last bit of common sense.